Thank you, Omar and Neil. I'd like to now call upon Rita Makhoul, Managing Editor of ArabNet, who will be moderating the highly anticipated panel discussion on best practices for winning online content. With the panelists, Julien, the Sales Director for the Middle East and Africa for Buzzef, Inass Abdulaziz, the CEO of DotSpace Group, Akash Pandya, Senior Manager for Digital in Zenith, and Eyad Zarea, the Media Director for Mars.
Hey, so are you in? Same here. I'm sorry, I was late actually.
Hello, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Rita.
The audience looks a bit tired. I know lunch is next. Just bear with us a bit. We'll try to make this this is going to be more of a discussion and not a back and forth Q&As, and we'll try to make it as entertaining to you guys as possible. And today, the discussion of today's panel, I think, is very key for all marketeers, since users today have more available content on more channels and screens than ever. So capturing the attention of the right kind of content has become the key to success. So this is sort of the topics that we're going to be tackling on today. And I want to start off with, and what I want to open up the discussion with is, what is your overall approach of content? And if we can start with Eyad, if possible, from a client and brand perspective on how you guys tackle this.
Yeah. Now, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Look, I mean, I'll say how we approach it. Doesn't mean that it's the perfect way. But until today, what we do is that we are FMCG company. So, and what we have proven data about is really video advertising, okay, and mainly TV. So you will see most of our content is really video-based. So what we do in terms of content strategy is that we usually take our TV made for advertising, so usually the 20, the 30-second copy, and this is what we put on video. Now, as I said, it doesn't mean that this is the perfect model because, to be frank, you know, like because of the lack of data on TV, when we put that on digital, especially on video platforms, we see the video through rate, completion rate, is very low. So almost out of every 100, we see only 15% completed until the end. And half of the people, after 5 seconds, they drop. So until now, most of our strategy is really based on how do we optimize what we have on TV. But definitely, hopefully, with this panel, we'll get more insights about how do we tailor make and have more, let's say, content and effective on consumers.
Great. Sure.
If I may add to what he had said, I think it's pretty interesting as well to notice that we've entered a disruptive age when it comes to content. The strategy for marketers has shifted from single content strategy on a very few channel of distribution towards multiple distribution channel and dedicated content strategy. So this is complexifying as well the job of marketers, and I think this is also one of the difficulties that Inass we're facing in her role heading the agency.
Yeah, actually, as a digital agency, and we work with different kinds of clients, all the time, the main thing that people talk about is content. Content is king. And then we all the time say, what is the right content? After our experiences with different industries, I think the three pillars that we at DBS Digital really try to maintain is the authenticity. People like things which are true. And if we see that people tend to like the videos which are real, not that high-end productions. So being authentic is something very important. And the second thing is the uniqueness, because we have to see, as this have been said before, we all work in the same mediums, and we see like we have clients with automotive, we have it with the beauty, with different kinds of sectors. So I think being unique is something really important, and really it's hard because of the amount of content now you see on social media and how to generate something which is new. And I think the best thing I talk about always is time. Nobody can miss that Ford post about women driving in KSA and how much it took, how much viral it went, organically viral. So I think the right timing, using the right content at the right time, I think these three pillars make us think, lets us give a lifestyle kind of a content that has the local flavor.
Akash, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I agree with what Inass has completely said right now. I mean, in terms of the approach of how content should probably be used, yes, currently consumers don't, we have, let's take this way, one of the recent studies which I was going through, it stated that the attention span of a human consumer, okay, it's actually gone down from 12 seconds to 7 seconds now. So reaching out to that particular set of audience, giving him your brand message with a particular or a customized brand message, I would say. Okay, that particular time is something which really matters because like even the other study says that 37% of the consumers spend about like less than probably 15 seconds in reading, and they don't prefer reading anymore. They like to watch videos. So of course, like the panel discussed right now, videos is something which is definitely going to be the next big thing.
If I may share my experience on video, it is still surprising that today we're working with 90% of our video content being just a traditional TVC storytelling of 30 seconds or exceeding 30 seconds being streamed online, whatever the channel, whether we're talking premium web content or social media like we were talking this morning. We have to ask ourselves the question, if the attention span of user is of, in average, 5 seconds on mobile, are we able to place the brand, the product, and all of it within the first 5 seconds of the video, which we're doing too rarely today?
So how do you optimize content? Like, it's a very cluttered world when it comes to content. Attention span is really short, whether in video or reading. Reading, you said 15 seconds. Videos, I think most of the numbers are coming out between 5 and 8 seconds now. How do you optimize content to get the right attention from folks? How do you, in a cluttered world, what is the right strategy to go? Is there a right way, or are we also just experimenting and trying to find the right tactics?
No, you need to attach more importance into contextualizing your message. This is what most of the channels are doing, whether on social media with dedicated channel of stream, or whether on the outstream content of websites. Benefit from the attention span that is larger when the user is engaged to the quality of content that is being put in front of his eyes, and then obviously adapt the creative side. So we need to work from the very beginning of the funnel on the ad creatives in order to ensure that we're making the most of our strategy of advertising.
80% of the people watching, they said that watching videos, they watch them without sound. So people tend to put text in the videos and make you grab your attention. And if you see, you can see yourself. Look at yourself when you're scrolling with Instagram. You don't put the voice on unless you see something really interesting and you like to see the text-based things. And sometimes people use their mobiles just to pass times, like waiting for something. Like yesterday, I had to wait for a period of time, so I was all the time watching all those videos without sound. And I was really shocked that 80% of the people, they don't use the sound when they're watching videos. So it's not only about the time, which is getting less and less. So before, we were talking about the 30 seconds kind of videos that we watch on TV, and now we're moving to the mobile devices. So it was a very hard task for marketeers to change their mindsets, because we were used as agencies to start with a storyboard, and then we make it, and it's a 30-second ad. And now it's our role now is becoming harder and harder to get that content, which is cluttered, to grab the attention. The time span of people and the way that attention is really getting less and less. It was 15 seconds with Instagram, and now it's 10 seconds with Snapchat. So they're saying people are watching 5 seconds to 8 seconds. What message that you're going to deliver? And since I'm coming from a digital marketing basis, I can say that, like on YouTube, when we use those bumper ads, the unskippable ads that you see, I know that you don't like it, but okay, the unskippable ads, in 6 seconds, you have to send the message and to make people watch it and get it. At the beginning, we used to put the pack shots at the end. We make the videos, and at the end, haha, the logo and the product. Now we have to put it at the beginning. So it's the whole thing that we have to change. How we look at videos, and so everybody's talking about videos. It's not us. So the video thing is the question, and the consumer behavior is changing every day.
If I can, would like to ask.
Yes, go ahead.
Less than 50% of video today are being seen with sound, which means that definitely we need to make our video content understandable and maximize the experience with no sound. Addition of smart subtitles, for example, is one of the best practices we can share on the market.
What I'd like to say is that, I mean, this is all great, okay? And as advertiser, now, to be frank, we can't, it's a challenge. We cannot say we cannot build brands. We cannot tell stories within 6 seconds, okay? What we are doing now is, frankly, we are trying to listen to Facebook, to YouTube, do some tests here and there. But I don't think, frankly, this is how we build our brands. We are doing nowadays tests with Facebook on like putting the test, making the brand more prominent at the beginning, all of that. But to be frank, it will never. We don't believe that this will build our brands. I mean, if you look at our brands, Galaxy, Snickers, Twix, M&M's, all of these brands were built on storytelling and story, building. So we cannot bring the hero at the beginning, and like the brand reveal, and then, to be frank, there's no drama. We cannot. We always learn, and our agencies are this is how they learned over the time, that building the story comes over time, and people would love to see the ads. Now, we will use, and we are using the 6-second, bumper ads. But to be frank, it's in conjunction. So we don't use it as a standalone copy.
Say it, أنت مو أنت وأنت جوعان. خلاص, everybody knows.
No, we have more than that to say.
6 seconds, so that's it.
Galaxy, we can't say this for Galaxy. I mean, it's good example. Snickers for us, it's a global campaign. So people, when they see, and this is the opposite, to be frank, we cannot bring Snickers at the beginning because we want to show that people are hungry, and when they eat Snickers, they, they become normal people. We cannot bring them as normal and then make them, different because they already ate Snickers. So it's a challenge for us, but I don't think, frankly, that what the suppliers or the partners are telling us is going to solve our issue. We still want to improve our content, and this is not only us, even our agencies, creative agencies, and also the media agencies' role.
Right. So what I'm hearing is video is no longer an option. And it's how we perceive use of video and how we utilize it is what's important today. Like, if we look at the old days, like you were saying, there were like the TV ads with the bumpers at the end. TV ads, some of them were at 30 seconds, some of them were at 60 seconds as well. And it was all about storytelling and looking pretty and the cinematography and their ads we still remember to today. And like their ads we've probably seen 30 years ago and you still have them in your mind. Whereas today, there's a lot of the video we're seeing on mobile, it disappears in 24 hours. Is it resonating with the audience like it used to? That's one thing I'd like to explore. And another thing you're talking about storytelling. How can you do storytelling in 8 seconds? What is the right tactic or the right process to get there, to achieve that? And what should we be expecting from video marketing? Like, what is next in the world? What are the trends that we're going to see? Like, especially when we're talking about mobile. A lot of you guys are repeating mobile, so we're going from horizontal to vertical as well.
Yeah.
So can we also explore a bit of those topics if possible?
In my opinion, what people remember is not the storytelling of the ad, it is the experience they have with the brand, how they connected with the brand. So definitely what we need to focus on is the user experience. How is the user engaged? How is he feeling himself connecting with the brand on the ad? So this is probably where we need to find out the way of measurement. Today, digital is benchmarking itself on viewability metrics, brand uplift metrics, and other metrics that are at no point of time conveying one single message, which is how engaged is the user, how is the experience of the user. We probably need to find new measurements that would allow us to cope with this fact.
Actually, the question that I get all the time on our social media and the clients, I want 30 posts. Every day I want a post. So like those questions, am I going to post the same content, the same video on Twitter, the same one on Instagram and on Facebook? And actually, what I envy Mars for it, that they have those big budgets to make those big ideas, but you cannot use them. Yeah? But not all the clients and all industries can be the same. So the question is always, can we make an everyday post like the nice, sweet thing of Galaxy that you're having? So we have two dilemmas. We have something that to post it every day. It has to be a mixture of everything, a GIF, and a static post, and a video. Yes, videos get more engagement, but also live streaming is becoming very important. And the people are tending to like the real-time kind of videos. So when I'm watching Beyonce and I'm showing the concert live, it is more engaging than putting that nice demo of Beyonce doing it on TV. So there is a change. There is a big challenge in the budgets with clients, because they have to post on a daily basis. They have to have their social media alive. They have to keep this engagement with their clients. And this has to be, I think, what we may discuss together, because we don't have this recipe and saying, oh, use videos. No, don't use videos. We have to use GIFs. So it is, as I said, about the time and the industry and the market. I tell you something, what works in Kuwait doesn't work in Lebanon.
Exactly.
What we write here doesn't work there. Yeah. And I think you guys in Mars, also because you have different markets, I don't think it is the same. The message doesn't go the same. So that's things that we have to think more about it. And that's the format is changing. Maybe it's a vertical kind, or it is a GIF and something XXX name next 2 months coming, and we're going to use it. But it also depends on the market and the brand strategy.
Well, I agree with what Inass is saying, but over and about to what I'd like to add here is, in terms of brands using social media platforms, we are not comparing brands here like Mars. It could be any brand. But every platform is unique in its own way. To target consumers on every platform, for example, YouTube or Facebook, okay, it may not be the same way how I'm targeting probably on Instagram. It probably changes because the kind of audience what I have on that particular platform will differ, and my targeting strategy would definitely vary as well. Now, just to tell you another thing which is coming in, I'm sure most of the brands, a lot of brands I've seen using this now, which is Instagram poll. It's another interesting way of connecting with consumers. Yes, Instagram is something which is more of personalized way of showcasing what I am probably. However, what brands are now doing is tapping onto that particular medium and trying to reach out to that consumer by throwing those ads, okay, by actually telling them what do they like about that particular brand. For example, I've seen Zarea doing this of late. Where they're showing a video of their latest attire, the latest attire which they have probably launched, or the latest airplane, probably, the relaunch I'm talking about. And they're actually showcasing, they're asking their own consumers probably, what do they like about it? Do they like it? Do they not like it? So this way, you're not only reaching out to consumers and exposing your brand to them, however, you're actually tapping into their personal life and getting feedback on real-time basis, which is something very interesting as well.
So can I interrupt here about the engagement and the likes? The likes is changing. People now tend to engage less. Like before, the likes were easier. People tend to like more videos. Look at yourself. You used to like more. Yeah. Because of the diversity of channels, so people tend to refrain from engaging unless it is an interactive kind of a post. I have something interesting that we've done for Eyad. It's a very silly kind of a contest, putting the logo under a cup and moving them with a GIF kind of movement, and see where the logo went. It's 1, 2, 3, and it's the simplest thing. And it was in Saudi Arabia, and it was for 250 riyals. We did not promote that post, okay? We got 8,700 till this morning comments, people saying where the logo is. This is the silliest kind of idea. It's not that great idea. Sometimes those ideas which we used to play with, maybe they will work. People are like they have to have an easy meal, something snackable, which is easy to digest, and it's at the same time it's delicious. So we have to give that kind of thing.
So how do you measure the success of a campaign today? If it's not through engagement, and it's not through likes, and it's not through clicks, and it's not through views, how do you measure the success of your campaigns?
Okay, let's differentiate between the campaigns that are done on GDN and YouTube and the ones done on social media platforms. Let's speak about social media since we're talking about content. So we talk about reach.
But content lives everywhere, not just on social media.
I know, but I mean, since we are now so much, so let's speak about Facebook, Instagram, and now Snapchat.
Right.
So people, because the terminologies change, like it differs, whether it's a CTR, it's a CPV, it's a, let's talk about social media. So since we're talking about engagement, so it's reach, engagement, impressions, and views, okay? Since we're saying that people are tending less to engage, so it's very important because of algorithm of Facebook and Instagram. If you're running a campaign on Facebook, they give it more, and it gives more effect when people interact with it. Because if you like a post, they show it to friends and friends of friends. And if you comment, also the campaign will work more and more. So actually, we need the engagement. So, and that's here, we know that we have to work more on content because we need the engagement. We're really in need of it. We cannot run a good campaign and say this is successful unless we engage.
Eyad, what do you look at from your end, from your agencies?
Look, I mean, the ultimate measure for us as advertisers is really sales, okay? So now this is complex. It's not easy because when we launch a campaign or a brand, we don't do only media. So, and we don't do only, even within media, we don't do only social media. Yeah. So, however, we try to isolate sometimes. So, for example, we do what we call geo market testing. So we may do, especially on digital, it helped us now because on TV you cannot do this. But on digital, we may do a test in Riyadh versus Jeddah. So we target Riyadh and then we see, because the conditions are more or less the same, two big cities with the same more or less structure of trade and so on. And then we do, for example, a YouTube or a Facebook campaign in Riyadh and we don't do it in Jeddah. And then we look at the sales uplift, okay? So this is one thing we do. Now, it's not always easy to do it because also it's a little bit expensive. So reach, and it's good you mentioned this, Inass, reach, especially for FMCG brands and big brands like us. I mean, we have 60% market share of the market. So we cannot, for us, we cannot only have, view-through rate or completion rates for 100 people. We really need millions, okay? Yes. So reach for us is critical if we cannot measure sales. So reach is one. Now, after that comes other measures, okay? So for example, when we use YouTube, we use completion rates or view-through rate. We use views also when we use Facebook. Now, the issue with the social media is that still we didn't know how to crack it as Mars and also as FMCGs. I would say the value of engagement and the value of likes and shares and all of that, for us, we don't know what is it, okay, seriously. I mean, we know that when we reach people with our ads, there is an impact on sales, and we have a lot of studies. The issue is that when we reach them with content that's not really our ads, we don't know. And that's why social media for us is always nice to have, and I know there was Hussein, he's a close friend of mine, and in the morning, and also Twitter and Facebook, and on a global level, we are trying to prove what is really, how does social media work for FMCGs.
There is no single currency of experience and engagement existing on the market today and allowing us to benchmark and evaluate the success. So we're just trying to take the most experience of what we're running now, but we lack this experience as well.
Yeah, but it's interpreted in sales. So everyone, like they want traffic on their website, they want app downloads, they want, but at the end, they need traffic or they need sales. So it is interpreted and the campaign has to have a strategy, and this has to serve it. So people want to sell. That's mainly the thing.
And where does data play a role in your content strategy process? Like there's a lot, like today we heard, like in this entire day, in this track today, we've heard everybody from Snapchat to Twitter to Cretio to MEC right before this panel talking about the importance of data and collecting data. Where does that come in the role of your content strategy?
Facebook has initiated a new thing, like it was 2 weeks back. It's called real-time data. You take the data. That's why it's good now. It's good for the agencies because we run different campaigns with different for different clients, and we gather this data, and then we can use it and we can generate. Like if you have names or a list or emails of clients that you have, the algorithm of Facebook and Instagram will go and match it online with similar kind of users, and they.
But that's in terms of distribution and reach is what you're talking about. How about in creating the content itself and understanding the user behavior first? Do you use data in that aspect?
Yeah,
in your strategy process?
Whole answer.
We do. Okay, look, I mean, as FMCGs, you know, like, and I'll talk about, for example, our brands, okay? So the value of a chocolate bar is not huge. So it's 3 dirhams or you know, like half a Kuwaiti dinar, maybe at maximum, unless you buy the big ones. So for us, to be frank, data is not our main business, okay? Our main business is that we want to sell chocolates, we want to bring happiness to people, so this is what we sell. However, the data we use, for example, is when we put our ads, or even before putting our ads, we test our ads usually through traditional ways, okay, with Ipsos and other research companies. And this is where we look at engagement factors, we look at convincing and so on. Then when we put it on digital, now previously we used to put it on TV and we don't know how it performs. At least now we know if people are watching, and then if the copy, for example, after a week or two that there is very low completion rate, then this kind of data we use, and either we remove it and put an...
No, but actually when we run a campaign, we can know when we target people, we target them by behavior, by interest, we target them by gender, by geographic location. So all of these are really very easy now to do it in the digital world. So yes, when we use that data, I want a campaign for Kuwaitis females, who are their age between 18 and 25. Yes, 70%, I can target those. And yes, I cannot do till now a personalized message for those people, but I can know that I'm targeting this segment of people and it's 70% accurate. Yes, I know my people, I can gather this data, I can know from the insights of my social media platforms about the people who are following my brand, my community, what is it? Is it the right community that I'm targeting or it's not? So each brand has its own strategy and the community that has to be its community. It's not applicable to chocolate because everyone loves chocolate.
Yes. Look, this doesn't contradict with what I was saying, okay? Yeah. What I'm saying is that, so we do that, but FMCG is because of, you know, like it's for most of the consumers. So usually, you know, like we target most of the consumers. So we don't have, you know, like we don't use data to specifically target it. So for example, cars, they may go behind, you know, like maybe 1-to-1, while chocolate, no. Even I'm ex-P&G, yeah. So shampoos, detergents, all of that. So the micro-targeting for these companies, it's not proven until now, but I think for big ticket items, it may work.
Yeah.
And another challenge, frankly, which is even if I have this data, which is if I have a lot of data about consumers, it is very expensive for me to spend money to reach, you know, like sub-segments. I mean, with going back to your point, Inass, we have big budgets, but we have big brands and we have big challenges. So internally, we have, you know, like in Saudi, for example, and we have out of the top 10 brands, we have 8. So all of these brands are competing internally for the budgets. So we cannot spend more money to create a lot of content. We want to spend money to reach consumers, okay? So this is one of the challenges we face today, which is how do we spend less money on content creation and spend more money to reach our target consumers?
Yes.
Thought you were ready for it. So, following on data, if you look at today, like one of the biggest topics of the year this year is the rise of artificial intelligence and IoT devices. They were just talking about Alexa before we got on stage. And we keep thinking that this is down the line, 20 years or 30 years down the line, but it's not. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
With the rise of AI and IoT devices, how should marketers consider and think about content today? Because that's also transforming and changing our lives.
What's interesting is to look at what can it bring as potential to the video. We talked about engagement widely. AI was revolutionize the way we see video and we use video. One perfect example is the chatbot feature that you will start to see appearing in the coming months. You will have the capacity to allow the user to engage within the video and talk to an AI and just ask information complementary to what he's seeing. I take example of a car brands showcasing and advertising for a new model. You will be able to ask what are the available colors. You will be able to book a test drive within
the video itself.
Within the video itself, hard-coded within the frame. You'll be able to localize what is the closest retailer to your home address. And all of this within the video. We were talking about engagement, we're talking about experience. This is a perfect illustration of how video will reinvent itself to adapt to users' expectation.
Okay. Artificial intelligence actually goes back to your question before. It's about gathering data. Sure. So gathering the data, this data, we have to use it to reach the right consumer. And the Internet of Things that everybody's talking about, and like the fridge and Alexa, get me milk, the fridge is empty, things like that, because this will gather your daily behavior. So we know that Rita at 12, she has her snack. And no, not at 12. No, okay, at 1. Okay, so we know that when Next company that was sold to Google. This is an artificial intelligence that's related to air conditioning. And they know, like, when you enter your home in the morning, you want the temperature to be 22, and then then you raise it at noon, and then at night you sleep with a 24 degrees on your AC. And why they want this? This data is actually going to be used. They need to gather a lot about the consumer to give him the right thing at the right moment. So we know that people are hungry at 12. So we ran all the at 12 and 1. So all my campaigns that are related to food, we start doing them at 12, 12:30, because at that time people will start thinking of eating. But this is a very generic kind of data. The artificial intelligence is going to give us more things about what consumer want, and then marketers have to think, as they were talking, Omar was saying. The fridge will tell you, oh, you're drinking this milk, but you have soya milk. It's very good. So suggesting something more healthy. So that's what we were expecting.
I just have an example about, I bring a lot of examples from Mars because this is what I live on a daily basis. But there was a campaign, I don't know if any of you are aware about the Cannes Award. So the Lions, Mars, there was a campaign called Hungarism. Okay, so it's hunger and algorithm, so for Snickers. And that campaign won 21 awards. 6 of them are gold. So, and check it online, okay? And so what we did, that we used a lot of data. Okay?
Do you want clicks or views, or what are we trying to achieve?
I don't know, but look at it and buy Snickers in Kuwait. So, yeah, going back, so the use of data, okay? So that campaign, and maybe I send you a video later on. So that campaign was about using the data, a lot of data, which is about sentiment online. So the angrier people got, the more angry, talking about the weather, hot, whatever, and there's a lot in our region, talk about politics, the cheaper the cost of the chocolate bar got, okay? And it was linked to 7-Eleven. And that was a success story in terms of sales, and this is the, like using data to sell is great. And this is maybe going back to how can we link all what we do to sales. So and this is a question that for everybody, to be frank, which is, like content and spending money on creating content, customization, optimization, it's all great. At the end, we have to sell also.
Excellent. We're actually running out of time, but I still want to take some questions from the audience. Before we do, just I know. If you can each give me like a do and a don't of content marketing. If we can leave the audience with one do, one don't.
I can say, I'll start?
Yes, please.
Okay. I would say when you're talking about content, try to keep the content crisp. not very lengthy. And in terms of the tools, try to be more animative, more creative in terms of giving out the message within the first 3 or 4 or 5 seconds probably.
You want me to say that? Actually, the first thing, I go back to the first thing I started. First, be honest. And then the second thing, get this snackable kind of content, which is short and direct to the point. And don't be afraid to follow the trend. And the do's, I think, everyone has to do what the brand really needs and listen to your audience. That's really what is important.
Julien?
It's yours.
No, the do for me is put yourself in the shoes of the person you're trying to reach. Put yourself in the shoes of your targeted audience and see if the experience is a fit or not. And definitely the don't is don't duplicate. We're trying to share best practices, however, it doesn't mean that it is valid for every brand. It doesn't mean that it is valid from one channel to another as well.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we already do it, okay, which is test and learn, okay, and this area is a big thing for us, and we started to dedicate budget from the start of the year to test, okay. Previously, it was whatever is left over, and then it's usually cut. So we will put more and more money behind testing, but really test to learn versus just test because it looks nice, you know. And don't be afraid to take a risk, you know. That's the only comment.
All very great tips, thank you. I'll take 2 questions from the audience. Sorry, we can't take any more. Microphone, please.
Hello, everyone. What an interesting panel. This is Mirna Safi from DBS Digital. My question is, nowadays, social media is all about providing the correct data capture to provide valuable content. Now, what are your tips to get the most organic reach and engagement on social media, bearing in mind that being structured and professional sometimes might make you look a little bit fake? So how can one have an informal yet an all-purpose fit? Thank you.
Can just one person answer that, but very briefly, please.
We have no solution for it.
You have?
No, we have no solution. I mean, I just give our point of view, okay? So we used at the beginning what social media, I would say partners, you know, like used to sell social media, that it's free. And it's not anymore like that, okay? So we used to get a lot of free whenever, so if we have fans of 1 million, so maybe we reach 30-40% of them when we post. Today you reach less than 1%. So to us, and that's why social media for us, it's a paid media, it's not free as advertisers.
Are there any more questions? Yes, there is.
I have a quick question for Ms. Inass and Mr. Eyad. You came up with, Mr. Eyad, you came up with this great sneakers. أنت جوعان, and you became رجاء الجداوي if you didn't eat sneakers. So how you came up with this brilliant, simple idea and yet short if you are normal person? How you came up with this great ideas yet short and simple? Thank you.
Okay, I wish it was me, but it wasn't. It was the global team. It's a global success story. It's a global campaign. And frankly, you know, like our creative agency is BBDO. I think, and I'll say my point of view, and when you give the creative agency the freedom to come with, I would say, crazy ideas, okay, or with out-of-the-box ideas, I think we are being now more conservative because of budgets, because of, it could be also sometimes up to the brand teams who are working on the account. I work in media, so I'm not really involved in the campaign creation, but I see when our creative agencies come and present crazy ideas, I see how sometimes we shut them down because we do want to take risk, okay? And I think hopefully this is changing with the whole, you know, market and the political situation is changing also in the region. Inass, you want to add something? Because it was also to you.
Yeah, the same question. I think the agency, it's behind it. Those people who who take a brief from a client, a right brief, and they get you the right idea. We see many ideas like the ones which are done for sneakers, and there are a lot of talented agencies, and they're doing a great job. So it's all because of those minds who are sitting and thinking and exploring the new challenges of media and how they're going to interpret it. That one that you said, the campaign which went so much viral about. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to take another question, our last question.
Hi, Sarah Shalhoub from Publicis Media Content. My question is mainly about UGC. We've seen that user-generated content is very successful globally, but it's a bit tough for us to activate this great idea in our regional space. So how do you think we can get people that are usually shy in this region to help us create such great content through the things that they share with us?
It's a very good question.
Can I ask her, can I answer that?
Sure,
actually, people tend here not to write reviews about brands. Like when you go now on TripAdvisor and you want to go to Paris, you can find the restaurants and people in Europe, they tend, or in the US, they write their reviews. Here people don't like to write. And I think that the importance of user-generated content, it is replacing this. And I think Carriage were very smart when they stopped. If you see Carriage, you don't see there's a place to write reviews about restaurants. They say, if you have any comment, go to social media and post it. So user-generated content is important everywhere. But in our region, in the Middle East, it's more important because it expresses the satisfaction of the consumer from the product. So when I see, when I eat in a restaurant, a burger, and I take a picture and I put it on social media, that is really replacing. And that's why the brands has to take that content and regenerate it on their platforms, and really gets a lot of engagement, because as we said when we were discussing, people like real-time videos. They like the authentic and the natural kind of videos, and those user-generated content expresses that.
Julien, do you want to add to that?
No, I think it's also the proof that we need also to consider. We talked a lot about social media today. We need to also consider that there is more than 50% of the digital traffic that is towards the web and the web content. So it is key as well and fundamental that we still consider as marketer in our strategy web content, still adding on to the multimedia strategies that we discussed about video. Premium publishers are doing like a tremendous job. We talked about Sayedati before, another premium publisher in the region. Are still working into generated premium content that is brand safe, that is qualitative, and associating our communication to qualitative content is key in the success of our campaign.
Excellent. Thank you all very much for your time. Thank you to the audience.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you for the insightful discussion. A quick note, the People's Choice Awards close at 2 p.m. in just a few minutes. So make sure you vote for your favorite startup by visiting the website arabnet.me. And please check the surveys that are before you to give feedback on the conference and what you'd like to see next year. We now break for lunch. We will resume at 2:15. Bon appétit.